Hey guys, happy Friday. Thanks for tuning in. I'm sure most of you are just getting off work and starting a live weekend, or a long weekend. I guess if you're here in the States. If you're everywhere else, it's July 4th here in the US, and the 4th is on Tuesday. So I think most people have Monday and Tuesday off. So thanks for tuning in with me. I'm Taylor. I feel a little disconnected from this group. I still work here, obviously, but I'm not coaching as much as I used to. I'm actually like more behind the scenes right now, which is super awesome. I love it. But I do kind of miss you guys a little bit, because I don't talk to as many clients directly like I used to. So just a little about me. I am technically the director of operations here, and that means a lot of different things. If you've ever worked in a small company, you probably know everyone does a lot of things. And so one of the things that I do is I read all of your questionnaires. So everyone looking at me right now, or in the future if you're watching this after the fact, I've read your questionnaire. And don't worry, I do not have a very good memory. There is no chance that I can like call you out and say that you said X, Y, and Z. But I do have a good feel for kind of like the general mood of the group and the goals that most of you come with, the kind of workouts that most of you do, and kind of like the things that you say about yourself. I also run the info boxes for Seismic and WAG, so I also like hear all of you guys who are interested in joining the program, and maybe what you say about yourself and what you think your struggles are. So I think I'm uniquely qualified to talk about some of the things that you might struggle with. And that's kind of what we're going to, or kind of like how you feel, I guess, let's put it like that. So that's what I'm going to talk about a little tonight. I think it's going to be pretty quick. So let's just get into it. I'll start it off. My husband is going to be home soon, and I told him I was doing this, but there's a good chance he's going to forget. And there's 2 herding dogs locked in this room with me right now. So at some point, things might get kind of crazy in here. And if you know anything about herding dogs, you know that they have a lot to say. So we'll preface with that. So what I'm going to get into is going to be a little fluffy. But I think that if you bear with me through the fluff and you listen, it can be really powerful if this is something you can internalize and carry with you. So I want to start with, I have my notes over here, so I'm going to try to talk to you guys. But as I'm sure you know, like when you get in front of a group, you like forget how to think. So the framework we're working off of is that your thoughts create your feelings. So what you think creates how you feel. And from your feelings come your actions. Your feelings drive your actions. So what you think creates your feelings, and then your feelings create your actions, and then your actions create your results. Thoughts create feelings, feelings drive actions, actions create results. So this is really important. And when I heard this, I really didn't buy it at first. I was like, I don't know, I'm not sure where my feelings come from, but I don't think that I'm creating all of my own feelings. Like, I think I feel like, I almost wanted to think that I was like victimized by my feelings. But then, as I thought about it more, and kind of like paid more attention to how I was feeling, I think I bought in. And it was explained to me first that to feel something, your life, like nothing in your external environment needs to change. So imagine that you got one of those fake scratcher tickets. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the lottery tickets. I know you've seen the videos on like America's Funniest Home Videos where they get someone who like they think they won $1 million, and they like, you know, they're so excited. So imagine that you scratch that ticket and you think you've won $1 million. Like you totally believe it. Imagine how you're gonna feel. Nothing in your physical environment has changed, but the way you feel has changed significantly, right? So that kind of like, that sold me on the idea. And then you can think of so many examples in your life, like, you know, imagine like my husband, like if I couldn't get a hold of him all day, like his phone just kept going to voicemail. Like, and maybe he's totally fine. Like maybe he's just in the middle of nowhere and doesn't have service. But I create this story in my head and I'm like, I'm sick, you know, because I think something's happened to him. So, you know, our thoughts 100% create our feelings. And so the example I wanted to like follow all the way through with this was I'm an Olympic weightlifter. I am pretty competitive. And so about 2 years ago, I snatched 80 kilos for the first time. And 80 is not necessarily a big number in my weight class. I'm a 63. It's not like it's a record or anything. But like to me, 80 was just like this big number. Like I finally snatched 80 kilos. Like it felt like such this big thing. But I snatched it in March of 2015 for the first time. And I didn't snatch it again until August of 2015, which made 0 sense. There was no reason I couldn't have snatched it every day since the first time I snatched it. And then I wasn't snatching it regularly until like January of 2016. So nearly a year later, it took me to be snatching 80 on a regular basis. And I could snatch 79 like every single day. And it wasn't even hard, but once I put 80 on the bar, you know, the game totally changed. So, you know, looking back on it now with this framework of like thoughts create feelings, feelings drive actions, actions create results, like how did I think about 80? Well, I thought 80 was this huge barbell. Like I thought snatching 80 was this huge deal. And I also thought I wasn't good enough to be snatching 80. Like 80 was for girls who were like serious weightlifters and they were really good. So what did that mean? It means I felt uncertain when I put 80 on the bar. It means I felt, you know, really not confident and I felt like I couldn't do it. And so what is it that drives my actions? So what are my actions? It means like when I lift the bar, like maybe like I kind of hesitate. Like I don't commit to the lift. I don't commit to going under it. Don't commit to putting it behind my head. Or, you know, maybe it means I clark it. And like if you're not a weightlifter, you probably have never heard that term. Probably talking a little fast, aren't I? So clarking it means like I just deadlifted it basically. You know, I didn't even really attempt to snatch. So those are the actions, and the actions create results, and the result was I never made 80. Like never. I missed it hundreds of times because I thought that I wasn't good enough to be snatching 80 because like I just didn't think I was that good. I didn't think, I thought 80 was a really big barbell and I thought I couldn't do it. You know, now I snatch, or you know, when I'm in shape, I'm not in shape right now. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that, but like I've snatched much more than 80 in competition. So how does this relate to you guys? And this is where I kind of like circle back to the questionnaire thing. A lot of you say a lot of really negative things about your body and about yourself and about what you're capable of. You know, I think the thing that I hear a lot of things that you guys say are not, you know, not you specifically, but generally, you know, a lot of people say like, oh, I'm a hard loser, or like, oh, you know, I just like I can't stick to it. You know, no matter what I do, it doesn't work. Like I've always been big. I'm just, you know, I'm always going to be big, which is all nonsense. Like that's not based in anything. You know, I've tried every diet out there and none of them work. So let's like follow that thought process. Let's follow that thought process through. So you think that like nothing's gonna work. Like you're hopeless. You can't lose weight. So how do you feel? You probably feel kind of like apathetic, right? Like why am I gonna try? Because it's not gonna work. Because I've tried everything, right? Because you've tried everything. You've tried all the diets. Like you've been paleo, you've been Whole30, you did Atkins, you did Weight Watchers, you did whatever. And you're like, yeah, they work for a little while and then they stop working. And then I gain the weight back and more. That's what I hear so many times. So many of you have written that either to me in info at the in the main inbox, and so many of you put that in your questionnaire, and you can probably say it to your coach too, because I'm sure the coaches can sit here and tell me like I've heard this 1,000 times. And so that's how you feel about it. So then what do? Like your actions, you're probably like kind of consistent for a little bit. Like a lot of, like you'll start off really strong, right? You'll be tracking your macros, you'll be going to the gym, like, you know, you're tracking everything, you're weighing everything, totally committed. But then you're like, you know, there's that voice in your head that's like saying things that are not productive, and it's telling you this isn't gonna work. Like even if you're losing weight, like even if you're down 10 pounds, you're still telling yourself like it's not gonna work, this isn't real. And so then what do? You like stop tracking your macros, or you cheat on the weekend, or you don't track everything, Or, you know, you have a glass of wine at night that you don't track. And then what happens? Well, like, nothing happens. You don't lose weight. You don't create the change that you said, you know, that you want to create. But then you get to fall back on that story that you've created that, like nothing works. Like, I can't lose weight. I can't be that girl. I can't be that guy. I can't have abs. I can't be that fit. You know, I can't snatch 80 kilos. Like, you say it to yourself all the time. And you can totally control this, because if you need to examine your mind and you need to be aware of what you're saying to yourself. So when you're saying those things that, you know, you're beating yourself up, you can't, you know, you always do this. That's another thing that, like, you probably say to, that a lot of you will say to yourself, you know, like, I always lose motivation after a month. Like, I've heard so many people say that. Well, you know, first and foremost, like, none of us always do anything. And that's just really being hard on yourself, and it's unproductive. In that moment, you know, this was explained to me that in that moment when you're being hard on yourself like that, not only are you the aggressor in that situation, you know, you're being aggressive towards yourself, but you're also the victim in that situation. And that's like super negative. You know, like, it's never positive to beat someone up, and it's never positive to get beat up. So that's just a lose-lose for you. So there's nothing productive about treating yourself that way and thinking those thoughts. So when you find yourself thinking like, oh, I always do this, I always lose motivation after 30 days. Like, don't think that's wrong. You don't always do anything. No, like, people don't always do anything. I think if you've ever been in any type of, like, relationship counseling, or you've ever read anything about how to talk to your partner, you know, one of the things we are very prone to saying, like, you always do this, and the reality is, like, no one always does anything. So, you know, you don't, that's not true. That's a false thought. Or when you say, you know, like, like, why can't I lose weight? Or, like, I can't lose weight. It's impossible for me. I'm always going to be this way. You know, why are you thinking that? Like, why couldn't you lose weight? Or why couldn't you look different? There's no reason you can't. It's totally a rule, a limitation that you put into your head that you can take out of your head. You can just not think that. And that's going to make you so much more successful. If you just think, I can do this, like, and believe it, like, and maybe you have to fake it for a really long time. And I get that, because I have these same, you know, what do you call them? You know, I have these same unproductive thoughts in my head. Another example related to snatching. I'm good at, so the snatch is my strong suit, and the, you know, between the two, between snatch and the clean and jerk, I have a few national snatch medals. And at the American Open in December, I was in second, and there were 2 lifts left. One lift was mine, and one was Maddie Myers. And I had snatched 86, and she had snatched 88. So she was ahead of me. I needed to snatch 89 to beat her, because she weighed a little bit less than I did. And this was before the rules changed, if you know, and we won't get into it. But I needed to snatch 89 to get a gold medal. So this was my first gold medal attempt. My coach was like, you know, he told me the situation. He's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want a gold medal. And so he's like, okay, you're going to snatch 89. And I was totally capable of doing this. I'd done it in training, totally capable. I walked out on the platform, and I was confident until that moment. I walked on the platform, and I looked at the bar, and I was like, you can't have a gold medal. And I was like, you can't snatch 89. And so I went up, and I attempted it. And if you look at the pictures or the video, I have a picture from Hook Grip where the bar is, like, in the right place. It was like I totally could have made it. It looks like I made it if you take a still of it, but I missed it. And I am totally convinced that it is because when the minute I walked out, I thought, like, I can't do this. Like, I thought, like, I don't deserve a gold medal, like, I can't snatch this, or, like, you know, I can't beat Maddie Myers. I mean, Maddie Myers is pretty strong. She just snatched 122, I think, a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I can't beat her. So I didn't. And, you know, there's a lot of things that I hear you guys say about the same kind of stuff that you just don't think that you can do it. And if you would just not let yourself think those thoughts, you control your thoughts, you can change your thoughts, and then change your feelings, and then it's a cascade. Change your actions, change your results. So that's something that I want everyone to spend a little time thinking about. And maybe it's not something related to nutrition and athletics, but maybe you think this like at work. Maybe you think that you don't deserve a promotion, or maybe you think you don't deserve a certain kind of relationship or something, and so therefore your actions, you feel a certain way about it, and then those feelings drive your actions, and then those actions lead to the same result that you've been getting that you're unsatisfied with. It really does all start with your thoughts, really in everything. You can control your thoughts, and once you learn to manage your mind and not let this negative reel play on repeat, it opens a lot of possibilities for yourself, and it's really, really hard to do this. And I've talked about, my examples come from weightlifting, and as I was preparing for this, I really became so aware of all these negative things I think about myself and my own capabilities, and I'm sure are things that limit me in my performance. And so I'm sure maybe as you sit in your room, I've been sitting in my office for probably an hour talking through this whole thing with my dogs. If you sit down and you kind of talk through whatever you're dealing with, you're probably going to realize some things about yourself that you didn't know. I didn't realize the whole thing, the story I just told with the snatch at the American Open. I didn't realize that until I was talking about it, and I was like, oh, I think that's why I missed that lift. So this is a little bit of a tangent. But yes, so I'm going to say it again. I really think you should write this down, and I think you should really, I don't know if you guys meditate or just, think on this when you're going around your day and monitoring your mind. Your thoughts create your feelings, and your feelings drive your actions, and your actions create your results. So it all starts with positive thoughts. I'm sure you've heard this, a positive mindset, and learning how to control them is extremely hard. You're never going to this isn't something that you're going to master, and you're never gonna have to think about it again. You're always gonna have these negative thoughts. You're always gonna have self-doubt, but learning to control it and be aware of it and change the the tape is gonna make all the difference. And whatever you're doing, whether you're trying to lose weight, whether you're trying to snatch a gold medal, whether you're trying to go to the CrossFit Games, whether you're trying to get a raise, get a promotion, it all starts with putting the positive thoughts in your mind. So that was pretty short, 19 minutes. My last one was almost an hour, so I'm kind of proud of myself. And I didn't go on any tangents, and the dogs did not bark. So I consider it a success. I will hang out for just a couple minutes. There's actually not a lot of people watching live right now, so I don't think I'm going to have any questions or any feedback, but maybe I will. So I'll hang out a second if there's something anyone wants to talk about. Otherwise, I will let everyone get to their holiday weekend. Hopefully you guys have something fun planned. My husband and I talked about going to the beach or a lake or something, but I don't think that we are. I'm not a big fan of lakes. When I was a kid, there was a lake close by that had snapping turtles in it, and I was there when a guy got his toe bit by a snapping turtle. And I've always been totally terrified of lakes ever since. Oh, you're welcome, Erica. I was glad to be here. This is something I'm very passionate about. I've been saying this to my husband because he wants to tell me I make him feel a certain way, a negative way sometimes. And I will tell, I'll be no, you control your feelings. Your feelings are determined by your thoughts. And no one likes to hear that, especially your husband. So it might be true, but I don't recommend that you tell your husband that he controls his feelings and not you. Alright guys, I hope that is helpful. I hope that you guys kind of think on it, I realize it's a little fluffy and a little might not be fun to hear, and it's something that's extremely hard to act on. Why do you need a coach? I have my own comebacks, but what would you say? Why do you need a coach? I think that it's very difficult to make good decisions for yourself, no matter how much you know. I've tried to coach myself in weightlifting, and I go nowhere, because I think that we're just not very clear-headed when we're looking at ourselves. It's very hard to be objective, and everyone has their own hang-ups. I have a client that I've been working with for a really long time, and she told me one time, like, she was afraid I was gonna, long story, she thought we weren't gonna work together anymore. And she was like, I think that I would have trouble making decisions for myself, because she is a little impatient. And so, her weight might do something weird, and I'm almost always like, let's just wait, and I bet things are going to even out or start moving in the direction we want to. And I'm almost always right. Like, not to my own horn, but I'm almost always right. And she's like, she's like, I wouldn't be able to make those decisions for myself. Because you get emotional about your own results or your own progress, and you can't be very objective, because you're like, oh my gosh, like, I'm gaining weight, or my snatch has gone down, or like my squat's gone down, like, oh my gosh, I must need to change something. And a coach is able to sit back and be like, no, everything's fine, like, take a chill pill and things are gonna work out. So I think that's why you need a coach. And it's also, it's just really nice to have a partner in what you're going through. If it's something that you've hired a coach in, whether it's a nutrition coach, a weightlifting coach, or a business coach, or even like a financial advisor, it's just nice to have someone to like sit down and hash things out with and be like, hey, this is how I'm feeling, like, what do you think the next step is? Someone who can be a little more objective than you can, because you're probably pretty emotional about your weight, your nutrition, your finances, your business, whatever it is. But that's a good question. I get that question a lot. I work, I mentioned I run the main inbox. A lot of people are like, I know all this stuff, like, why would I need a coach? I'm like, yeah, I know all this stuff too, but I have a coach. Anyone else? There weren't too many people tonight. I'm guessing you guys are all like out at the lake or something, camping, having fun. All right, guys. Thank you. Oh, good. I'm glad that was helpful, Erica. Everyone has their thing that they struggle with that you need. You need someone else to come in and save the day. All right, guys. Have a safe 4th of July if you're in the U.S. Have fun. I hope that was helpful. And if anyone is watching this later, leave comments, and I'll be looking back at the comments. This is an idea that I'm like very passionate about. So I'd love to talk about it more if someone wants to. Good night, guys.